Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be talking about leopard geckos versus bearded dragons. They're both very well known beginner reptiles, and I'm going to talk about their care, their temperaments, the overall cost, and which one I think is a better beginner reptile slash family pet. Before we get into the video, make sure to like this video and subscribe down below so you don't miss any of my content. I will be posting on Tuesdays and every other Friday. Let's get right on into it. The first thing you'll notice here is that the leopard gecko and the bearded dragon are very different sizes. Now, this is my adult female leopard gecko, Nova, and she's about 50 to 60 grams. And Finn here is a bearded dragon, and he weighs about 400 grams. I don't really measure my animals lengthwise. I measure them by grams to make sure that they're a healthy weight for their species and their size. When it comes to their care is very similar but also very different. Finn here is going to need a minimum of 40 gallons, whereas Nova here only requires a 10-gallon tank minimum. When it comes to substrate, it's also pretty similar. They both like a little bit drier conditions and a lower humidity, so you can use really any sort of chunky substrate. You do not want to use sand. It'll cause impaction in both animals and will ultimately lead to death. But coconut fiber, aspen, tile, carpet, there's tons of other options, and I'll make a whole separate video on that later on. And the way you heat them is also pretty different. For Finn here, he requires UVB as well as a heat bulb that will leave his basking spot at around 100 to 110 degrees, whereas the leopard gecko here will need an under tank heater because they like the belly heat to help digest their food. The next thing is going to be diet. Now, Finn here is an adult, so he is on 90% greens, and then he gets bugs as a treat, and he's a little bit underweight, so he does get bugs a little bit more often than an adult should. And then also one fatty bug or pinky mouse every 6 to 8 weeks or so. Whereas leopard geckos are insectivores and eat solely insects. She gets fed every other day to every 3 days. He eats a salad every other day. And of course, for both, you want to dust their insects or gut load them with calcium and other vitamins that they need to thrive. UVB is very important for them because they can get metabolic bone disease, which can cause their limbs and tails and spines to form incorrectly. When it comes to the lighting and heat category, leopard geckos are a little bit cheaper when it comes to just having to buy a heat mat. He's going to need a heat lamp, which also requires a heat fixture, and a UVB bulb. So next is temperament. Now, I've gotten lucky and all 4 of my leopard geckos are super sweet, love to be handled. Generally, they are a little bit more skittish than the bearded dragons are going to be because they're smaller, and obviously as humans we're fairly big to them, and so it's a little bit scary. With proper handling, they can be very loving. Like, as you can see, she's just resting on me. She doesn't care, like I can touch her. Bearded dragons have a very easy, laid-back temperament. I have met a couple of bearded dragons with bad temperaments. I have owned a couple. Bearded dragons' temperament is usually a lot more laid-back, and being bigger, they're also a lot more hardy. So when it comes to overall cost for both of these animals, like I said, his tank's going to be bigger. Over his lifetime, he's probably going to require $150 to $200 in lights. A bearded dragon is going to live about 5 to 10 years. So I would say over their lifetime, you're probably going to spend $750 to $1,000 when it comes to food, vet care, you know, anything like that. Whereas for leopard geckos, like I said, their tank is going to be a lot cheaper, and then a heat mat. Probably have to replace that every 6 months to a year. So over 10 years, you're looking at about $100. Her food, she only cost me probably $5 max every month even. Leopard geckos probably only cost $500 in their lifetime. In conclusion, bearded dragons are going to cost about twice as much as a leopard gecko is going to cost over their lifetime. I think that both animals are great beginner lizards. A leopard gecko is probably the best option, but if you're looking for something for your family and is going to be around young children, I would say your bearded dragon is probably your best bet. The leopard gecko can drop their tail, and that can be stressful for the leopard gecko and for the kid. But when it comes to like being an adult or a teenager and having a beginner pet, a leopard gecko is a lot cheaper, just a lot smaller space-wise. Anyways, guys, that is the end of the video. Again, I'll be posting every Tuesday and Friday. Thank you guys for watching the video, and I will see you guys on Friday.